Ah, this one is glad to see you again, traveler. Mahik still has many stories to tell. Azer's story is far from over. He still has a long travel to go and much to learn. Come, sit down, grab yourself a Honningbrew Mead and let Mahik continue his tale. Azer's wandering took him south, to the borderlands between Morrowind and Cyrodiil, a land where the marshes gave way to the jagged cliffs, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. The borderlands were a realm of contrasts. Villages clung to the edges of swamps, and the trade routes converged, and yet danger lurked in the wilderness beyond. It was a land where survival bred desperation, and desperation made ripe offerings for the ambitious. It was here, beneath the shadow of the Velothi Mountains, that Azer stumbled upon the crumbling remnants of a Daedric shrine. Overgrown with vines and moss, the shrine looked abandoned, yet the air buzzed faintly, charged with the lingering power. The markings on the stone were etched deep, their meaning foreign, but hypnotic. Azer, still young in his pursuit of magic, felt drawn to the place, like a moth to the flame. For days he camped by the shrine, examining its carvings and experimenting with incantations, desperate for answers. On the third night, during a storm that seemed to shake the mountains, Azer offered his first true plea, a chant spoken in a language he barely understood, drawn from a torn book he had scavenged years before. The storm stilled, a figure emerged, not in flesh, but in a shimmer of green and black smoke, its form formless yet menacing. The spirit that appeared was cunning, its voice a chilling mixture of honey-eyed whispers and guttural commands. It did not give a name, but demanded a price. Small sacrifices of blood and life in exchange for knowledge. Azer, trembling but resolute, agreed. The first sacrifice was a rabbit caught in the fields near the shrine. The second, a goat stolen from a nearby farmer's pen. But the spirit demanded more. The greater the offering, the greater the knowledge, it whispered. Azer hesitated, but his ambition, like a fire that could not be doused, pushed him forward. He began stalking the nearby villages, staying hidden in the tree line, observing the routines of its people. His first victim was an old hunter, separated from his party in the woods. Azer lured him with a cry for help, only to strike him down with a blade and drag the body to the shrine. The ritual that followed was a crude and clumsy, but it worked. The spirit rewarded Azer with a glimpse into the arts of necromancy, a spell to reanimate the hunter's corpse. When the lifeless body stumbled to its feet under Azer's command, the taste of power was intoxicating. Over the months, Azer honed his craft. He learned to bind spirits to his will, to draw strength from the bones of the dead. His sacrifices grew bolder. A lost traveler here, a reckless thief there. But each act of violence left its mark. His hands were stained with ash and blood, and the spirit's whispers grew louder in his mind, demanding more. The villagers began to talk. Rumors spread of the pale Dunmer with burning eyes who wandered the forests at night. Tales of missing travelers and strange lights flickering in the hills added to the fear. Some claimed to hear unnatural howls coming from the shrine. Others swore that they had seen the dead rise from the graves. One fateful evening, Azer pushed too far. A farmer's son, eager to prove his bravery, followed Azer to the shrine. Hiding in the shadows, the boy watched as Azer performed a ritual, summoning a spectral guardian to do his bidding. Terrified, the boy ran back to the village, shouting of dark magic and evil deeds. The villagers, armed with torches and pitchforks, gathered in a mob and marched towards the shrine. Azer saw them coming from the tree line. He had been careless, and now the hunter had become the hunted. But Azer was no longer the naive boy who had stumbled upon the shrine. He was a necromancer, and with a flick of his hand he summoned the hunter's corpse, still bound to his will to serve as a distraction. While the mob clashed with the undead guardian, Azer slipped away into the wilderness. The spirit's laughter echoed in his mind as he fled, taunting him. "You grow stronger, but you will always be hunted. There is no peace for one who wields such power." Azer, exhausted and alone, swore vengeance, not against the villagers, but against the limits of mortality itself. He vowed to master his craft, to transcend the petty fears of mortals, and to one day return not as a fugitive, but as a force to be reckoned with. And so, the Borderlands became another chapter in Azer's tale, a crucible that forged his resolve and darkened his path. As he disappeared into the mountains once more, the whispers of his deeds lingered in the villages he left behind, growing into legends of fear and shadow. Well, traveler, that is going to be the story for now. Mahik still has many more stories to tell, so be sure to come back, and Mahik will tell you more. But until next time, Mahik says goodbye.